Hi, my name is Chris Hilberg. I'm a member of the Bourne School Building Committee, the Bourne School Committee, a resident for 22 years, and most importantly, I'm a dad to 3 children that have attended all of their school years in Bourne. As a matter of fact, all 3 of my children attended the Peebles School in my background. The Peebles School has become a challenge for the town of Bourne and the school district as a whole. Would like to take an opportunity to introduce you to the school. It was built in 1953. The annex in the back, which you can't quite see from here, was built in 1959. During that time, the town of Bourne experienced a 200% population growth from 1950 to 1960. There was a scramble to adapt to all of the people and the children that were now living in the town of Bourne. An answer to that scramble was the Peebles School. The construction at the time was temporary in nature and resulted in some of the challenges we're facing today. In the following program, members of the School Building Committee and myself will try to answer some of the questions that have been raised. These are important questions that deserve important answers. We hope by the conclusion of this program, you'll be able to make an educated decision when it comes to the Peebles School. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jani Norton. I am the principal at Peebles Elementary School. In case you don't know me, I also grew up here in Bourne in the village of Katamit, and I'm a proud graduate of Bourne High School. And I've also been fortunate to have most of my teaching career here in Bourne as well, at the high school and at the middle school. And now I'm at Peebles Elementary School. And I am very hopeful that this intermediate school will pass and that we'll be able to continue the proud tradition of education here in Bourne. There's a need to construct a new Peebles Elementary School because today, as Peebles exists, it does not meet educational standards. It does not have the technological infrastructure needed for the 21st century learner. So as a result, the learning is compromised because we don't have the technology that's needed for today's education. In addition, we have learning spaces in the building that are insufficient and not conducive to learning. For example, we have our music room, which is right next to our gymnasium, 2 very loud classrooms. So it's very difficult for the students to hear the teacher delivering instruction, and it's very hard for those students to hear that instruction. We also have our art room, which was literally carved into the corner of the cafeteria because we lacked the space for an art classroom. So as a result, for 2 hours every day during the lunch block, it is very difficult for the art teacher to deliver instructions and for students to hear those instructions because the noise level is so high. Another area in the building that is not conducive to learning is our library. Everybody knows libraries are supposed to be quiet and are supposed to be peaceful learning spaces. But at Peebles, the library is literally in an open atrium area that is exposed to 2 levels of the building. And in those 2 levels are 10 classrooms where the students are coming and going and transitioning from one classroom to another, to one end of the building to another end of the building, and also using the bathroom facilities. All of that noise in that atrium area goes onto the library and disrupts the learning there. Additionally, we have spaces that for special education students that are inadequate in the number of spaces that we have and the sizes that they have. We literally had to curve some of those spaces out of closets to create space for our special education students. Another area that we struggle with is our students that have disabilities, or for students who get injured. Kids are always breaking bones. So to use the handicap facilities in our building, it's difficult. We have 2 box elevators that have lifts in them that are exposed, so the kids are literally coming up through this open exposed tunnel. And we also have 2 old-fashioned type ramps that completely block the stairway. So when those ramps are in use and you need 2 people to operate those ramps, we have to block the access, so the rest of the students have to go a completely different direction in the school. So even though it is handicap accessible, that it is definitely challenging. Some of the other spaces that we have problems with is say the teacher staff room, for example. It's really the girls' old locker room. So within that teacher room, it's the lounge plus the staff workroom for the teachers. We store our tables there, our chairs, and paper for the school there. In terms of the physical infrastructure of the building, it dates back to the 1950s. So it has the original heating and plumbing, electrical, communications, and security systems in it. And they are woefully unreliable and are in need of constant repair. A great concern to us is the piping underneath the building. And within that piping underneath the building, because we know that the back section, which is commonly referred to as the annex, is settling, those pipes are at great risk of cracking and causing a great cost to the town to repair. And I can't even imagine what would happen when they do break in terms of the function of the school continuing at that time. Along with that, we've had major sections of the building where the outside brick veneer has fallen off, where the back side of the building had to be cordoned off and portable classrooms had to be brought in. They've been replaced in multiple sections outside of the building with clapboard that now are showing moisture damage that are protruding out and bubbling out and falling off. The caulking around the windows are collapsing. The sinking causes stress fractures within the windows, which we know have asbestos caulking. They contain asbestos caulking, so we have to abate that. That's a difficult process. We have to cover them. We have to call in a special team to come in when students are not in the building to repair those, and it's extremely costly to the town. And some of those windows that were repaired have already suffered additional stress fractures, so we have to repeat that process all over. The windows are single paned, so they're not only are they not energy efficient, we're losing dollars all the time because the heat's just going out the windows. So there's many different challenges educationally and physically that Peebles is deficient, so it makes for an interrupted or not conducive learning environment for our students. We need to replace the existing Peebles Elementary School with a grade 3 to 5 school to create an intermediate elementary school at the campus here. We need to have an elementary school on this side of the Cape, and that would provide that for all the students in Bourne on this side of the Cape. In addition to the campus here at the high school and the middle school, so we could continue to access those resources both at the middle school and the high school. It puts 5th grade back at the elementary level where developmentally it's more appropriate, where it belongs. One of the other things that a grade 3 to 5 elementary school, intermediate elementary school would provide for us is that it would allow those 5th graders to transition to the middle school together, whereas currently right now the 4th graders come from 2 different elementary schools into the middle school as 5th graders not having known each other. The other thing, currently right now our 5th graders are housed at the middle school, so they're the youngest population in the school. With a 3 to 5 intermediate school, it would put the 5th graders as the oldest students in the building. So it would give them the opportunities to be leaders in their building, where currently right now they're actually the youngest students in the building. In addition, most importantly, by having a grade 3 to 5 intermediate school, it would allow each child to have the same educational experience. They would have the same exposure to the curriculum, to resources, and to opportunities, and currently that does not exist right now in Bourne. Creating a pre-K to early childhood center at Bournedale Elementary School will already enhance what's in place at Bournedale. Bournedale Elementary School is an excellent early learning center, and by adding the pre-K to 2 there, it would just enhance what's already in place. Much of the building, the way it exists now and the way it is structured, is already conducive to a pre-K to 2 learning center. For example, the gymnasium is appropriately sized for that age group, as well as some of the special education services. One of the biggest benefits of a pre-K to 2 learning center is that the town will be able to offer universal full-day kindergarten for all its students in Bourne. Well, creating a 6 to 8 middle school will finally, after 16 years, will finally allow the middle school to act as the middle school as it was intended when it was built. The 5th grade was never part of the planning process to be in the middle school, but because of space constraints, the 5th grade was added to the middle school at the last minute. So now, there's staff and students there at the middle school have always done a terrific job accommodating the 5th grade. But by having it truly a middle school age, grades 6 to 8, they will finally be able to focus solely on the middle school curriculum and have age-appropriate activities for the early adolescent learner. Moving the 5th graders back to the elementary level is that those students will be integrated ahead of time, so it'll make an easier transition to the middle school. Most importantly, it will reduce the amount of older student behavior that our 5th graders are currently exposed to, whether it be on the bus or in different areas of the schools. So the 5th graders will be with their peers and be exposed to peer-appropriate behavior. We also are aligned, the curriculum is also aligned by the current curriculum state frameworks by grade bands. So currently it is pre-K to 2, and 3 to 5, and 6 to 8. So that would be a smooth transition in terms of the curriculum frameworks. And if I could just say one thing, I think what's important is that we have a very unique opportunity here with this grade span with building the new intermediate school. And one of the things that few towns would be able to say is that their teachers are able to collaborate together more often and have the same experience and exposure to resources and collaboration time by doing a grade span. The other thing is that it would give each child in Bourne truly the experience of one community and the same educational experience throughout their student career here in Bourne, and I just think that's terrific.
Hello, I'm Ken Kovacs. I'm with Flansburgh Architects, and I'm the architect for the new Peebles School. What I'd like to do now is walk you through the design for the new project. This is a new school for 460 students on the existing Peebles site. As part of a greater campus, the building is situated adjacent to the high school and the middle school, and captured within is a new campus green that's part of the existing softball field and new tennis courts that leads to the football field and track. Now let's take a closer look at the site plan. The new design for the Peebles School, the main parking lot is located on the east side of the school, and there is a continuous loop road around the new building. The building will be situated in the area of the existing tennis courts. So for this project, those tennis courts will have to be relocated. They'll be relocated adjacent to the football field and track. Some of the amenities for the school, there will be the main parking in the front, as well as a large play area for the students in the back and student garden spaces also on the west side of the school. Looking at the floor plans, the idea around this building is you come in to the school and you feel as if you're part of the community. There's community spaces right from the main entrance, as well as great learning spaces such as the Innovation Studio right off the main lobby. So you see the great work that students are doing within the school, as well as access to the gymnasium and cafeteria for community events. And on the upper levels, we have grades 3 and 4. Taking a look at the exterior of the building, we want the school to reflect the town's character. We take cues from different areas, from the natural environment of the water and the rolling green hills and stone walls, to the style of the homes, with shingle-style homes and clapboard homes. With this, we feel it'll be a school that has a great character, that's designed appropriately for the younger students, and will reflect the town's character. In order to meet the educational space needs and satisfy the MSBA requirement for reimbursement, the school is sized appropriately as in the current design. There will be approximately 15 additional minutes to the current bus duration for first and second graders that reside on the Cape side of the canal, and an additional 15 minutes for third and fourth graders who reside off Cape. The school committee is reviewing several options for the start time of the schools. One option is for the elementary schools to start at the same time. with the middle school starting 15 minutes earlier and the benefit of the high school starting 25 minutes later. This has come up in the past in the school committee meetings. Having a later start time for the high school has many benefits, and so they're going to continue to explore this. Another option maintains the current start times as is, and the school committee will review and have the final decision prior to the big opening of this school. One of the great aspects of this project is that there is plenty of space to have the new building constructed away from the existing. There's good distance to have a construction activity zone fenced off with their own construction access, separated from the day-to-day use of the school for parent and pickup drop-off. So there'll be minimal disruption to the school during the construction.
Chris Hilberg, here with Natasha Scarpato, fellow school committee member. Often in the community we were asked, why Peebles, why now? I can tell you that when my wife and I settled here 22 years ago, we chose Bourne. We didn't choose Bourne for the bridges or the seafood or the traffic or the beaches. We chose Bourne because of the people. It was a community that supported everyone, made us feel very welcome. And we have that opportunity now with the Peebles School. I'd like to have Natasha go over a day in the life of a student as they enter Peebles for the first time.
So imagine walking into your very first day of school. You're nervous, you're excited, you reach the school building and there's all sorts of friendly faces, high fives all around. They lead you into the gymnasium, which is very large and loud and hot and uncomfortable. But you're so excited. You see your teacher, she puts you into a group, you all gather together and she leads you down to your classroom. You're led down stairs that are crumbling, that are falling apart. You're led down a very dark, dreary hallway where there could potentially be buckets catching the rainwater as it pours down outside. You enter into your classroom and there's mold stains on the ceilings and there's broken windows because the building that you're standing in is settling, and that causes cracks in the windows. Imagine what that must feel like as a first grader, being very, very hot in your classroom because there's no insulation protecting you from the heat outside, or being really cold in the winter because there's no insulation. That must feel so uncomfortable as a student here in Bourne. I've had 3 kids go through Bourne school system. My last one is actually a first grader at Peebles. And this is what he experienced on his first day. Now he was so excited by all the friendly faces that it didn't really affect him as much. But when I went in there as a parent, I looked at the floor sloping and I looked at the mold on the ceiling and the cracked windows and my heart sank. And I said to myself, you know, there must be a better way. There must be a way that we could make this experience better for our children in Bourne, where they could have bright, airy classrooms, where they could have technology that was reliable, where they could catch up to the 21st century. This is why we really need to focus on this project in Bourne.
As members of the school committee, we have different roles, and my particular role over the past 5 years was also a member of the facilities subcommittee. And that subcommittee actually got into the construction, the remediation, the remodeling, the rejuvenation, the repairs, anything that you might imagine with running a district and running buildings. My particular forte in our business was I looked at a building as a piece of property, things that need to be fixed or need to be repaired or replaced. But I can tell you in this project, this feasibility study, it started a long time ago. It started in 2012 in an application with Massachusetts Building Authority. In response to that process, through the facility subcommittee, the school committee, and now the school building committee, it's been a learning process, certainly for myself and I know for others. Specifically, I was out to replace a building. What was the most cost-effective way to fix the problem of an exponentially deteriorating facility? And in truth, what we realized at the end was we were not just replacing a building. We have an opportunity to rebuild a district. As a member of the school committee, we've had great insight to how education falls upon the administrators and the teachers within our district. The responsibilities we place on them, the challenges we put in front of them. This building, by having an intermediate school, by separating the grade spans and providing one educational experience for each student, focusing on one grade level at a time. I mean, we use words like mapping curriculum and collaboration and all these educationalisms. I'm just a dad, and I can actually see the benefit that having this grade span can mean to our students. We don't have 2 second grades. We don't have 2 fourth grades. We have one grade level. We focus our attention, our educational value, our educational efforts and dollars on that single grade level. There are 360-something towns in the town of the state of Massachusetts. Only one has a canal that divides it. That canal is not going to divide this community, and it's certainly not going to divide the district anymore. Providing this school, changing the grade spans, there are certainly lots of other benefits.
About a year ago, I heard about this new community forum. They were discussing replacing the existing Peebles School. I decided something needed to be done. I was on the school building committee, meeting after meeting after meeting, seeing all these dedicated individuals, trying to figure out the best way to educate our students in Bourne. We went through a lot of different building plans, and we decided the redistricting plan was the best one to go forward with, because not only did it replace an aging building, it took those 5th graders out of the middle school, which I personally believe needed to be done.
What's important to understand is that as elected officials, we are your representative. We have done the homework. We've gone to the meetings. We've studied everything. And we are passionate about this solution. We're passionate about this project and the impact that it can have for the town of Bourne.
My name is Joel Seeley. I work with Sims, Main & McKee. We're the owner's project manager. The feasibility study commenced over 4 years ago with the submission of the Statement of Interest to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or MSBA, by the Board of Selectmen and the School Committee. That Statement of Interest defined the aging conditions of the Peebles School, and the MSBA, in reading that Statement of Interest, agreed with the town that something needed to happen with the Peebles Elementary School. Since that time, the feasibility study has been underway. There was a vote in October 2014 to appropriate the funding for the feasibility study, and since that time the School Building Committee has overseen the study. The Massachusetts School Building Authority is the state agency that administers and funds a program of grants for Massachusetts school projects. The MSBA mandates a multi-step, rigorous study and approval process encompassed within the feasibility study. The total project cost for the Peebles Elementary School is $39.91 million, with an estimated cost to Bourne of $24.76 million after the MSBA grant. The MSBA will share in the cost of that overall project. They'll provide a grant of $15.15 million to the town of Bourne. The total project cost includes all of the construction costs. That is the cost of the building, the site, the building demolition, as well as all of the furnishings, fittings, and equipment, educational technology, testing services, fees, and contingencies. The tax impact for the project is approximately 45 cents per thousand of assessed value. So for instance, for the average assessed value home of $398,944, that equates to $178.51 a year, or 14.87 cents a month, or 49 cents a day. The town will be voting to appropriate the overall funding for the project this October 17th 2016 at the special town meeting, followed by the debt exclusion vote on December 6, 2016. With the successful passage of the debt exclusion vote, the architects will immediately commence the detailed design work to develop the construction documents to give to the contractor for construction and bidding. That process takes about 8 to 10 months. We anticipate construction commencing in November 2017 with the building opening in August of 2019, followed by the demolition of the existing building and the site work around that area to be completed in November 2019. This is absolutely the right time to build. With historically low interest rates, a construction market that is still extremely competitive, it is absolutely the right time to build.
We in the town of Bourne, we have a decision to make. There are three options. We can do nothing and keep going the way we've gone with Peebles. We can fix Peebles, or we can build a new school. We've been considering replacing Peebles for some time, 16, 17 years ago, back in Campus 2000. In 2008, we did a study, and the cost of replacing Peebles at that time with an addition was $28,500,000. Today, we're looking at a project cost of just under $40 million, $39.9 million. It's $11.5 million more than what it was in 2009. If we do nothing, what will it be in 10 years? If we try to fix Peebles, we certainly can, but the cost is still staggeringly high to the town. In addition, we will not have the participation of the MSBA, the School Building Association. Mind you, the MSBA, 1 penny from every sales tax dollar goes to the MSBA. There are 360 districts competing for that penny. In 2012, MSBA looked at Bourne and it said, it's your turn. We have an opportunity to build a school for less than what it would have cost us in the town of Bourne in 2009. With MSBA's participation, $15 million of those expenses, of that 39.9, will be paid by that 1 cent of sales tax that's already been collected. If the town of Bourne elects not to use it, then it will go to some other town. But more importantly, where do we stand then? How do we, every day, send the most precious, the most trusting part of our population, elementary children, to school, knowing that our building is exponentially deteriorating? We have a margin of safety. We work hard every day. If you come to Peebles and take a tour, it'll look like a school with shiny floors, bright colors on the walls, chalk, posters. It'll look like a happy place to learn. That's not a function of the school. That's a function of the district and the work and the effort by the teachers, the staff, the maintenance personnel, the administration. Make no mistake about it, Peebles needs your help. It's time for us to take care of the ones who don't vote and need our help more than anybody in this community. Thank you.